following contains mature content. You've been warned.
From Wondery, I'm Mark Ramsey, and this is part 1 of Inside Jaws. July 1, 1916. A perfect day at the Jersey Shore. Charles Van Zandt was in the mood for a swim. Hey, let me show you how far out I can go. He was 25, a smart-looking young man with dark, slick-back hair. Charles was a stockbroker from a prominent Philadelphia family, and this was his first swim of the summer season. As he paddled out, he could see the fine young women with their petticoats and parasols. They were watching from the shore. That cheer, that was for him. A few others were in the water too, but he passed them now. He was all alone. A man and his ocean and his dog. He paused, just to listen. And he turned on his back and floated. He was engaged to be married to a beautiful woman. He was young and strong and handsome, with a fine career. It was a perfect day, and he had a perfect life. And a golden retriever named Jack. Jack, come on back! Jack was swimming to the shore. Fine, Charles had made his point. He looked at the sand, people there, dots on the horizon. Ahead, the Ingleside Hotel, a grand and glorious gem on the water. There you could find sophisticated ladies and gentlemen who journeyed from New York City and Philadelphia every summer. The cities emptied, and they came. They came for the magnificent sunrises, the crisp ocean air, and the gentle sound of the peaceful surf. In the lobby that morning, local fishermen gathered. Where were the fish? They grumbled. The catch is awful. It was as if the fish were frightened of something. Charles was swimming the crawl, smooth, effortless. His dog was nowhere to be seen, nowhere to be heard. Jack? 100 yards to shore. Ahead he could see people shouting and pointing. 75 yards to shore. 50 yards. The sun was beating down on him. He could see his reflection in the sand below. 30 yards. He saw his reflection eclipsed by a vast dark shadow. The water was suddenly warm from the spreading pool of his own blood. Charles fought even as the predator's teeth ground down on his bones. He could touch the sand. He was almost out of the surf. Grab his hands. Help me here. Time was standing still. Charles reached out for help. That's when the thing let go. Pull! Pull! The monster had him again, this time by the thigh. The surf was receding. The fish was now on the sand, and he was holding fast to what was left of Charles Van Zandt. The creature's mouth was moving. He was trying to swallow the man whole. Hold! The monster was off the sand, back in the water. Nobody knew how or why, but the beast let go and vanished into the ocean. They carried Charles away from the water and laid him on a towel. The crowd gathered. Numb with shock and horror, he was still alive, barely. He was a sickening sight. His left leg virtually torn off, a gaping hole in his side where his thigh had been. He was blood and trembling, mangled flesh. I was looking right at him. I'll never forget his expression. It was blank, white, helpless, and so sad, shaking. He raised his arm to the sky, like he was praying for mercy. Inside Jaws is pleased to have Audible as its presenting sponsor. As you prep for those long and lazy days and some time away this summer, you might be looking at summer reading lists. Well, we did you one better. We worked with our friends at Audible to create a summer hearing list. Get it? You already know that listening is the best way to binge content you love while doing things you love. But when Inside Jaws is over, Audible is the answer. Live your life, do what you do, while Audible makes the soundtrack better. Start a 30-day free trial and your first audiobook is free. You can't lose. Just go to audible.com/jaws to get started or text JAWS to 500-500. That's audible.com/jaws, audible.com/jaws, or text JAWS to 500-500. And stay tuned at the end of this episode to hear about our pick from our summer hearing list. (1981), Phoenix, Arizona. She tells me clean up the basement, I clean up the basement. Where to begin? Hey, I hope that wasn't a mouse. Gotta start somewhere. It was in a dark corner. It had been there for many years. A box full of old movies. Dozens of amateur 8mm films disintegrating. The box's owner had long since moved away, and so the box was shipped to Los Angeles, where two 15-year-old boys who made their own 8mm films worked day and night to repair them for weeks. The boys were overwhelmed by what they saw. Reel after reel. Movies like their own, but much older. So many, so rich, so ambitious, and some featuring elaborate special effects. How'd he do that? Dude, I have no idea. For their work, they were paid $250. They would have done it for nothing. That's it. I think we're done. The boys were named Matt and JJ. Matt Reeves would grow up to direct the Planet of the Apes franchise, and J.J. Abrams would one day helm a new generation of Star Trek and Star Wars movies. Their patron's name was scrawled in Sharpie across the side of the old box, hidden for years, forgotten, lonely, in the basement of his boyhood home. It read, Steve Spielberg. October 24, 1976. It had been more than a year since the movie was released. More than a year since he directed what had become the highest-grossing movie of all time. More than a year since he changed Hollywood, changed the way people saw movies, and forever changed his own life. Now he was at the top of the A-list. So, why was he so nervous? Why was he sweating? His hands were shaking. Why were all his dreams nightmares? Why did he close his eyes and see only things out of control and over budget and career-ending and ruinous and perpetually not working? What was it about that movie that left him this way more than a year later? Here he'd sit for hours. It helped him work things through. Here on the deck of a fishing boat called Orca, moored in a man-made harbor at Universal Studios. It used to be called Singapore Lake, but now It was dressed to resemble Amity, the fictional island terrorized by a great white shark in the movie Jaws. The skies are ablaze with light, and the center of attention is just ahead. Steven Spielberg squirmed inside the limousine. He was never comfortable at world premieres, and this was no exception. Out of the limo came the director and his cast. He wrote and directed this movie himself, a labor of love. It was a sci-fi spectacle about mysterious lights in the sky, alien beings who abduct humans. It was March 24, 1964. The movie was called Firelight. The world premiere was at a small theater in Phoenix, Arizona. At $1 a ticket, the audience would be just large enough for the movie to eke out a profit of $1. The director and writer, Steven Spielberg, was on top of the world, and he was 17 years old. The great white shark has about 3,000 teeth at any given time. Those teeth, they come and go all the time. Not you and me. We've got about 32, and we got to take care of them. The truth is, though, most of us are brushing our teeth wrong, not for long enough, and forget to change our brush on time. Look, nobody likes to brush, right? You know that. I know that. Your brush knows that. You know what? Quip knows that too. Quip is the sleek new electric toothbrush that Bloomberg has called the Tesla of toothbrushes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Electric toothbrushes, they're bulky and ugly. Well, not this one. You know, the minute I held Quip in my hand, I knew it was different. It's a fraction of the cost of bulkier brushes while still packing just the right amount of vibrations to clean your teeth. And it's actually fun to use. Whoever thought they'd say that about an electric toothbrush? Look, even Oprah loves Quip. And let's face it, she can have any toothbrush she wants. Quip's subscription plan refreshes your brush on a dentist-recommended schedule, delivering new brush heads every 3 months for just $5, including free shipping worldwide. Quip starts at just $25. And if you go to getquip.com/jaws right now, you'll get your first refill pack free with a Quip electric toothbrush. That's your first refill pack free at getquip.com/jaws. Spelled getquip.com/jaws. When he was making Jaws, Steven Spielberg was living in a house on Martha's Vineyard, trying like hell to get a good night's rest before another day of production nightmares. In desperation, he stuck celery into his pillowcase to help him sleep. He woke up sweating every morning. What would he have given for a Casper mattress? See, a Casper mattress has a breathable design that helps you sleep cool and regulates your body temperature throughout the night. It's cozy, it's comfortable. Wait, you don't have a Casper mattress? Well, you should. Celery in your pillowcase? Come on. You know you spend about a third of your life sleeping, right? You should be on something comfortable. The original Casper mattress combines multiple supportive memory foams for a quality sleep surface with the right amounts of both sink and bounce. Hey, I've got one, and it's like sleeping on a cloud. You can be sure of your purchase with Casper's 100-night risk-free sleep-on-it trial. There's also free shipping and hassle-free returns in the U.S. and Canada if you're not completely satisfied. Forget the celery. Get a Casper. You can get $50 towards select mattresses by visiting casper.com/jaws and using promo code JAWS at checkout. That's casper.com/jaws, promo code JAWS. Terms and conditions apply. Spring 1959, Phoenix, Arizona. Steve Spielberg is 12 years old, and he's hiding his face in shame. He's in his front yard, and that racket, that noise, it's not coming from some teenage rebel without a cause. It's coming from his mother, Leah. Oh, Mom! Now, in a normal suburban family, you have cooking aprons and PTA and bridge clubs. You have flower beds and scouts. You have sedans and station wagons. But Steven Spielberg's mom had a Jeep. Steven's mom, Leah, a free spirit if ever there was one. Short bobbed hair, short jean dresses worn way above her knees in a most un-mom-like way, and the tan, what a tan, a world-class tan. Mom, you're embarrassing. You act like a kid. Why can't you be more grown up? Oh, grown up? I'll never grow up, and don't you grow up either, Steven. You gotta live in the moment. It's in the back of the Jeep. Oh, I almost forgot. Meet your new pet. My new pet? Mom, you brought home a monkey? Yeah, I was in the store and he was sitting in the cage in a fetal position. And I say to the shopkeeper, that monkey's depressed. And he says, no, I think that monkey's dying. And I say, not on my watch. So I rescued him and here he is. Mom, shouldn't we start with a dog or a goldfish? That monkey's gonna kill us all in our sleep. Leah was different. She lived in the moment, all right, and she would make sure her kids, especially Steven, did the same. Even if it killed them in their sleep. March 1960, Phoenix, Arizona. A cooler than average day, a perfect day to play outside. Steven Spielberg is playing 7 houses down the street from his parents' home. Do you guys hear that? Young Steve Spielberg heard it, even if he pretended he hadn't. Hey, Spielberg, I think that's coming from your house. He's talking to you, Steve. What's a schmool? Schmool. 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 Yeah, right. Steve Spielberg buried his face in his hands. It was his grandfather Fievel calling him by his Hebrew name. Please, God, make it stop. Explaining the idea of a Hebrew name to a gang of Gentiles was the last thing he wanted to do right now. Burying his head deep under the ground was what he wanted most. I hear you, I'm coming! He turned his back to go home. From behind, he could hear the barbs, the taunts. For a moment, he had convinced himself he was like the others, one of the gang. How could he have been so stupid? He was ashamed to be different, ashamed to be Jewish, ashamed to be. April 12, 1960, gym class for 14-year-old Steven Spielberg. Hey, retard, why are you such a retard, Spielberg? I never wondered if I belonged. I knew I didn't. I'd like to tell you it didn't matter, but it's all that mattered. Okay, boys, line up. This is a 1-mile run. On your mark, get set, go! Running wasn't my thing. Math wasn't my thing. English wasn't my thing. School wasn't my thing. Being me wasn't my thing. But here I was, running. I keep falling behind. I can't help it. I see the kids flying past the finish line. Now they're all across, all but me and one other kid. Come on, beat Spielberg, beat Spielberg, beat Spielberg, beat Spielberg. The other kid, he was one of the special ed kids. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Beat Spielberg, beat Spielberg. What do? I was ahead. I could beat him. I could beat the special ed kid. Beat Spielberg. I could tell from his face he wanted to win. I could see what it meant to him. Everyone wanted him to win. I wanted him to win. Come on, come on, come on, come on. I was walking now, walking to the finish line. They grabbed the kid. He was on their shoulders. I'll never forget the look on his face. Sheer joy. That smile. Radiant. The smile of a winner. All the way to the lockers. And me? Well, I was alone. Alone at the finish line. Why even bother to cross? I was a nerd, a geek, an alien. I had never felt worse in my entire life. Summer 1958, Phoenix, Arizona. Hey, Steve, what's the matter? That's Steven's dad, Arnold. He wasn't around much. He worked hard and almost all the time. There were no games of catch, no fishing trips together, no pats on the back, and no hugs when things got tough. But his dad put food on the table, and that was something. Steve, what's the matter? Nothing. Come on, tell me. Well, I'm working on Eagle Scout, and I need another merit badge, but I'm not good at anything. Why am I even bothering? Here, let me see. Well, it says here that they have a photography merit badge. Why don't you take my little movie camera and some film and go out to the desert and make a Western? Well, Stephen didn't have a better idea, and so he corralled a bunch of neighborhood kids and set out in a station wagon to the desert with his dad. Okay, everybody, can I have your attention? Welcome to a special meeting of Troop 1210 of the Boy Scouts of America. My name is Steve, and I am proud to present a new motion picture featuring many of the kids in this room. The projector's set to go. Please dim the lights. I now present The Last Gunfight. In his metal chair on that school auditorium floor, Steven Spielberg watched. He watched not the movie, but the audience. They were screaming and cheering and laughing and applauding. They were smiling at his movie. The boy who could do nothing well, the boy whose world had left him outside of it, that boy could create worlds of his own. Worlds with cowboys and fighter pilots and soldiers and aliens. Worlds he could imagine himself. Worlds that left audiences laughing and crying and applauding. He was hooked. He had never felt anything quite like it. And he wanted to feel it again. That's next time on Inside Jaws. From Wondery, this is a 7-part deep dive inspired by the story behind an unforgettable classic movie. This has been part 1 of Inside Jaws. Written and narrated by Mark Ramsey, audio design and production by Jeff Schmidt, produced by Mark Ramsey Media. Executive producers Marshall Louis and Hernan Lopez for Wondery. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, NPR One, Wondery.com, or wherever you're listening right now. If you like what you're hearing, we'd love you to give us a 5-star rating and review us. And be sure to tell your friends and show them how to subscribe. Find a link to subscribe to Inside Jaws and more information on the episode notes. Just tap or swipe over the cover art. You will also see some offers from our sponsors. Please support this show by supporting them. For more information and to comment on this show, visit our website, wondery.com/InsideJaws. Tweet us at InsideJaws. Inside Jaws is pleased to have Audible as its presenting sponsor. Now, at the beginning, we told you we'd be back with our pick from our summer hearing list, crafted with our friends at Audible. Now, this is an audiobook available right now on Audible, one that's worth your ears. This week, I want to recommend World War Z, the Complete Edition. Maybe you remember the movie World War Z with Brad Pitt a few years ago. Well, the original book is by Max Brooks. I've met Max Brooks. I've talked with him. He's an amazing guy. World War Z is presented as an oral history, so it's a perfect match with audio, right? You don't read an oral history. Listen to the names that narrate this audiobook. Alan Alda, John Turturro, Rob Reiner, Mark Hamill, Alfred Molina, Simon Pegg, Henry Rollins, Martin Scorsese, Nathan Fillion, Paul Sorvino, and there's about a dozen more. Look, you could just read a book or you could hear an experience. And don't just take my word for it. World War Z, the Complete Edition, has about 11,000 ratings on Audible, and it earns a near-perfect 4.6 rating. It's the perfect sidekick for all your summer activities. Take your stories with you. You've packed your swimwear, you've packed your flip-flops. Don't forget your Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day free trial membership. Just go to audible.com/jaws and look for World War Z, the complete edition. Audible's unmatched selection of audiobooks is going to keep you entertained all summer long. Just download a title for free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audible.com/jaws or text JAWS to 500-500. That's audible.com/jaws, audible.com/jaws, or text JAWS to 500-500 to get your first audiobook for free. You're going to need a bigger boat.